T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his actions.
Still trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk out, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
The scene inside the Harris compound is one of shattered illusions. The sprawling Atlanta mansion, once a symbol of unshakable success of King of the South Dominion, now feels like a gilded cage under siege. Phones blaze nonstop, not with celebratory calls, but with frantic, desperate pleas. And at the center of the storm, Clifford T.I. Harris, a man who built a legacy on being unbreakable, has finally broken. Sources close to the family say the facade of the boss, the mogul, the kingpin, has completely crumbled. Tonight, T.I. is just a father, and he is crying out, begging for anyone with the power to bring his son home alive. This is the desperate, unfiltered reality after King Harris was brutally jumped inside the Georgia prison, an attack so savage that insiders are now whispering it was less an assault and more an attempted execution. The begging isn't a metaphor, it's a chilling, new fact. T.I., the man who never bends, is on his knees, willing to trade his entire empire, his pride, his legacy, for one thing, his son's freedom before it's too late. But behind the tears is a cold, terrifying realization sweeping through the inner circle. They may be running out of time, and the very power T.I. is trying to wield might be the reason a target is permanently painted on King's back. The attack, as pieced together from fractured accounts from inside those cursed walls, was a masterpiece of prison cruelty. It wasn't a chaotic brawl, it was a coordinated hit. King was lured to a blind spot in the common area, a corner where the omnipresent security cameras, according to two separate corrections officers who spoke on condition of anonymity, suffered a temporary malfunction. The moment King stepped into that dead zone, at least 3, maybe 4, inmates descended. They weren't throwing wild punches, sources claim it was a disciplined, vicious beating designed to send a message, not just to King, but to the entire system. They focused on the head, the face, the ribs. The sound, one inmate reportedly bragged, was like knocking on a hollow door. King was left on the cold concrete floor, battered, bloodied, his body broken and his consciousness clinging by a thread. By the time guards responded to the commotion and the camera glitch miraculously resolved itself, the assailants had melted back into the population, leaving King as a bloody warning. He was rushed to the infirmary, then to a secured external hospital wing, under heavy guard not to protect him from outsiders, but to protect him from the very population he's forced to live alongside. The official report will call it an inmate-on-inmate altercation. But everyone from the warden down to the newest trustee knows the truth. This was a sanctioned hit.
He's like that, so him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, it just, he.
And the internet, that relentless, unforgiving digital coliseum, wasted no time. Feeds exploded with a toxic mix of genuine concern, wild speculation, and grotesque memes. The Harris family drama, once confined to reality TV storylines and social media spats, had now escalated into a life-or-death spectacle for public consumption. Conspiracy theories flew faster than the facts. Some claimed King had been set up by a rival Atlanta clan, settling old scores through proxy violence behind bars. Others pointed fingers inward, whispering that the attack was a direct result of T.I.'s own past dealings, that the sins of the father were being visited upon the son in the most brutal way imaginable. The commentary wasn't just gossip, it was a real-time jury delivering a verdict. Clips of King's lavish lifestyle, the designer clothes, the luxury cars, the celebrity-filled parties were juxtaposed with grim mugshots and news reports of the attack. The narrative was clear: the privileged prince had finally been forced to pay the price for a life he never truly earned. This digital frenzy isn't just background noise, it's adding fuel to the very real fire, putting immense pressure on the family to control a narrative that is spinning wildly out of control. Inside the war room of the Harris home, the pressure is cracking the famous Harris unity right down the middle. While T.I. is consumed by a raw, emotional desperation, his wife, Tiny, is operating with a steely, tactical precision that insiders describe as terrifyingly calm. She's become a general in a war she never wanted to fight, coordinating a small army of publicists, high-powered attorneys from D.C., and private security consultants. Her approach is strategic, legal, and measured. She's pushing for a softer, more diplomatic approach, working the official channels, preparing statements, and trying to de-escalate the situation through the system. But T.I., haunted by the image of his son broken in a hospital bed, is having none of it. He's pushing harder, louder, convinced that the system is corrupt and that only raw force, power, and the kind of connections you don't find in a law book can save King. He's willing to cut any check, sign any deal, just to get King out before it's too late, revealed one family friend. But behind closed doors, even the so-called King of the South looks desperate. The arguments between T.I. and Tiny have turned explosive. No one's sure if they're fighting to save their son or fighting each other. The source of this targeted hatred, however, goes far deeper than petty jealousy over Instagram fame. Whispers are growing, slithering out from the shadows of the prison underworld and into the ears of reporters, that this attack wasn't about some minor disrespect. This was about business. The dark rumor gaining terrifying traction is that the beating was tied to a failed contraband deal.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle.
Right.
Now, it does come with some, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your business.
Yeah.
I graduated. That's the only good thing they posted of me going viral. I'm not on the media's good side. I don't know why, but
he's willing to.
The story goes that King, either trying to establish his own credibility or being pressured by a powerful clique, was used as a mule. But something went wrong. Some say King got cold feet and refused to play along. Others, more ominously, suggest he tried to finesse the wrong people, maybe holding back product or skimming money, a fatal error in an economy where betrayal is always punished in blood. He either refused to play along or tried to finesse the wrong clique, and that alone could paint a target in a place where the currency is respect and the debt is paid in pain, a source with ties to the Georgia prison system stated bluntly. This theory transforms the attack from a simple assault into a calculated message to the entire Harris family: behind these walls, your name isn't a shield, it's a liability. And the stains on that family name are following King into every darkened corridor. The old trafficking allegations that once rocked T.I. and Tiny, the scandal that nearly ended their careers, still linger in the public memory like a ghost. And now, Sabrina Peterson, the ex-friend who first lit that fire, is threatening to pour gasoline on the inferno. Sources close to Peterson say she is privately threatening to drop receipts that would allegedly drag King directly into the mess, implicating him in the old, unproven allegations. The feds never pressed charges against the parents, and certainly not against King, but in the court of public opinion, and more importantly, in the twisted court of prison politics, that stain never faded. It's seen as proof of snitching, of cooperation, the ultimate sin. Anonymous whispers inside speak of a secret ledger, of broken promises, and suddenly, King isn't just another rich kid in prison. He's a symbol, a lightning rod for every grudge, every old score that anyone has ever wanted to settle with the Harris dynasty. The label won't comment, but the message from inside is clear: the price for crossing the wrong people, or simply for being born into the wrong family, is always paid in blood. The danger is more than just physical, it's a slow, grinding psychological torture. In prison, every stare in the chow hall, every whispered conversation that stops when you walk by, every subtle threat disguised as a joke, is designed to break you down. And King Harris walked into that environment with a target already painted on his back by his own life. Inmates who grew up with nothing sought his private schools, his family's reality TV show, his documented luxury lifestyle, and felt a pure, unadulterated resentment. They mocked his attempts to act tough, to stand on business, knowing his life looked nothing like the streets he sometimes rapped about. This tension isn't new, it's part of a wider, cruel pattern with high-profile inmates.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
Fame becomes a weapon against you, a liability that others can use for clout, for status, for a chance to make a name for themselves by taking down a king. We've seen the same cycle with other celebrities behind bars. The target is instantly larger, the need to prove oneself is immense, and the predators circle with greater hunger. This entire disaster now looks like it was foreshadowed by a moment the world has already seen. Fans still remember, with a grim new clarity, that viral clip from an Instagram live stream months ago. T.I., his face a mask of fury, yanking a defiant King into a headlock, shouting, "You are embarrassing yourself and your family." At the time, it was a family drama played out for the public, a low point in their strained relationship. But now, with King in a hospital bed and the family's deepest secrets spilling out onto the internet, that moment looks less like a father's anger and more like a terrifying premonition. It was a public display of the very pressure cooker environment that King was trying to escape, the same pressure that now threatens to consume him entirely. T.I. was trying to control the narrative then, to discipline his son for embarrassing the family brand. Now, the brand is in tatters, and the only thing left to control is the survival of his child. The crying, the begging, the desperate phone calls in the dead of night, this is the sound of a king dethroned, a father brought to his knees, praying that his cries are enough to drown out the vicious whispers inside those Georgia prison walls before it's too late. The clock is ticking, and with every passing second, the whispers get louder, the threats get darker, and the hope for a safe return grows dimmer.